Hi there. Today, we're going to learn about our world. Let's rewind billions of years ago to where it all started, the Big Bang. This massive explosion occurred about 13.8 billion years ago and created everything we see in the night sky, stars, galaxies, and eventually our solar system. But let's zoom in on one particular part of this grand cosmic show, our planet, Earth. About 4.5 billion years ago, when our solar system was just forming, a process called accretion started. Dust and gas, leftovers from when our sun was born, began to stick together. These bits and pieces grew larger and larger, becoming the building blocks of the planets. It was a wild and chaotic time in the early solar system. These celestial bodies bumped into each other, merged, and gradually Earth began to form. It was a rough period, filled with extreme heat and pressure. But without chaos, our world wouldn't exist as we know it. Imagine a giant game of cosmic pool, with each collision and merging event contributing to the making of Earth. It's quite something to think about, right? Our home, Earth, was born out of all this chaos and destruction. So that's how our planet started to take form, but it was just the start. The Earth was still a ball of fire, with no life. How did it change into the life-filled planet we know today? That's a story for the next part. Stick around as we dive further back in time and uncover the secrets of our planet's past. In the beginning, Earth was a hot, melted world. A burning ball rolling around in the endless space, its surface was a sea of glowing lava, shining and moving due to the constant heat from its fresh core. Ours was created from a mix of dust and gas in space, a place where the basic ingredients of our world were formed. During these early times, Earth was full of volcanoes. Picture huge volcanoes throwing out streams of lava, covering the land with their fiery colors. The air was filled with the smell of sulfur, and the loud sounds of volcanic eruptions could be heard all around. This was a world in the process of being made, a place of raw and wild energy. Yet while all this was happening, a change was slowly taking place. As millions of years passed, the planet started to cool down. The non-stop movement of the Earth's crust, always pushing and pulling, slowly formed a hard surface above the sea of lava. This didn't happen quickly. It was a slow process that took an incredibly long time. The hot core of the Earth cooled down, but it didn't go out. Instead, it powered the movement of the Earth's surface, changing the shape in a process that is still happening today. As the Earth cooled down, it started to change. The sea of lava turned into land, islands in a sea of fire. These were the first continents, the base on which the future world would be built. They were empty and lifeless, but they were a start, a blank canvas where life would create its masterpiece. And so the world of lava started to change into a new era, an era of solid land and high mountains, of deep valleys and huge seas. This was the other world we might start to recognize, a world where life, as we know it, could finally begin. With time, the hot world cooled down, setting the stage for the next step of evolution. But how did our Earth get all its water? This question has baffled smart people for a long time. We don't exactly know where Earth's water came from, but there are two main ideas that might hint at the answer. The first idea us on a trip across the universe, where shooting stars made of rock and ice are the main characters. Some believe that when Earth was just a baby planet, it got hit by these frozen shooting stars. When they crashed into Earth, they melted, and just like that, water appeared on our planet. But there's another idea that makes us look deep into the heart of our planet, into its hot insides. This second idea, known as outgassing, suggests that water was always part of Earth's body, hidden in the rocks and minerals of its insides. When the planet got hot, this water was let out as steam through volcanoes, eventually getting cool and turning into oceans. Both ideas have good points, and both might have some truth to them. Maybe Earth's water came from both shooting stars and outgassing. Or perhaps there are still hidden sources of water we haven't found yet. What we do know for sure is that water's arrival on Earth was a big deal. It changed the planet's face, creating valleys, lakes, and the oceans that cover most of our world today. More importantly, water became the life juice of our planet. It was the perfect mix for the chemical reactions needed for life to start. It was the starting point for the first life forms, and has kept all living things going since. No matter it came from, water kick-started the next big thing, life. Imagine a soup bubbling away. This was the start of life. A powerful statement, isn't it? Our Earth, once a ball of fire, cooled down and was covered with water, and that's when the first signs of life appeared. At first, life was pretty basic, nothing fancy. The earliest signs of life were really tiny, made up of just one cell. These little creatures, too small to see with your own eyes, were the first life on Earth. They lived in the oceans, eating up everything around them and making more of themselves. As these tiny one-celled creatures began to multiply and change, they started evolving into life forms made up of more than one cell. That was a big step. The shift from one-celled to many-celled life was a major milestone in life's journey on Earth. But the biggest game changer was the Cambrian explosion. This happened about 540 million years ago and was a time of super-fast evolution. In no time at all, life started to become way more varied. Before this explosion, most life was simple, made of single cells that sometimes grouped together. But after, the fossil record fills up with all sorts of complex many-celled creatures. This explosion led to different types of life, all unique in their own ways. It was a great time for life, with lots of new developments. The Cambrian explosion paved the way for the evolution of more advanced life forms, including the ancestors of all animals living today. From those basic one-celled creatures, life had evolved into a ton of complex forms, each one more amazing than the last. The world wasn't just home to simple one-celled life anymore. It was buzzing with life. This explosion of life was just the start of the beautiful variety of life. A variety that keeps changing and wowing us with its ability to bounce back and its sheer diversity, even today. As they say, life always finds a way. Meet the big guys, the dinosaurs. Picture a world where these huge animals walked around, their loud steps bouncing off wide open spaces. This was the time of the Mesozoic era, or what we often call the Age of Dinosaurs. It was a really special time in Earth's history. For more than 160 million years, dinosaurs were the bosses of the planet, longer than any other animals in history. Dinosaurs weren't all the same. They were as different as all the creatures we see today. Some were as small as chickens, while others were bigger than any land animal we have now. They ate plants, meat, or both. Some even flew or swam. They were the top animals everywhere, in all climates and in all places. But what made dinosaurs so great? They were able to change and adapt. They evolved to deal with their surroundings, getting things like sharp teeth, long necks, and even feathers. They were the best at surviving, doing in a world that always changed. But even the strong dinosaurs couldn't survive a really bad event that ended their time. About 65 million years ago, a huge asteroid hit the Earth. The crash released energy like billions of atomic bombs, causing a bunch of bad things to happen. Forests caught fire, big waves swept over the seas, and a cloud of dust and ash covered the world, blocking the sun. It was the end of the world. The dinosaurs, once the kings of the world, were almost completely wiped out. Their time was up, but they left behind fossils and birds, the living reminders of these old giants. When the dinosaurs went away, it was the mammals' turn. Now it was time for a new kind of animal, one that would lead to us, humans. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's just be amazed at the awesome time of the dinosaurs, the real heavyweights of our planet's past. When dinosaurs disappeared, mammals became the new stars. A new age began, full of changes and growth. The world became a playground for these animals with warm blood, and they were ready to shine. The first mammals were tiny, nighttime creatures, hiding in the dinosaur world's darkness. But when dinosaurs were gone, they started to mix things up. Some flew to the sky, some swam in the sea, and some stayed on land. All of them changed and fit into their homes in amazing ways. One group, the primates, had special features that made them different. They had big brains for their size, eyes that faced forward for seeing depth, and hands and feet that could grab things. These things were handy for living in trees, but they also led to bigger things. Over a lot of years, one group of primates got used to living on the ground, and that's where our story, the human story, starts. Learning to walk on two legs gave our ancestors' hands the freedom to make tools and survive in new ways. As humans, we've changed a lot since our early primate relatives. Our brains have gotten bigger, our communities are more complex, and we've made a big impact on the world. We've learned to use fire, grown our food, built big cities, and have gone to the farthest corners of the earth and beyond. But this journey of growth hasn't been without problems. Our actions have changed the world in ways no other animal has. We've changed landscapes, caused other species to die out, and even changed the weather. From the first human-like creatures to modern humans, we've left a big mark on Earth. As we look to what's coming, we need to remember where we came from, understand where we are now, and think about how what we're doing will affect future generations. So what's next for our world? As we think about what lies ahead, we can't help but guess about what could happen to our planet. These could be anything from what's happening with our weather right now, to what could happen when our sun runs out fuel. Let's start with the weather. The way we live over the next few years is going to have a big impact on what our planet's weather will be like for a long time. If we carry on as we are, we might end up with a much hotter world than we're used to. This might mean higher sea levels, nastier weather more often, and less different types of life. But if we act fast and make big changes, we can stop these things from happening and keep our world safe for the future. Let's think really far ahead. In about 5 billion years, our sun will run out of fuel. It will get bigger and turn into a red giant, swallowing up the planets around it, including Earth. But don't worry, it's more than likely that life on Earth will have stopped long before then, because of the sun getting hotter and making the Earth too hot to live on. But even then, life might still find a way to keep going. Just like life went from being simple molecules to all the different types of life we see today, it could change to deal with these future problems. Maybe it will find a home deep in our oceans, or move to other planets or moons. No matter what happens, the way Earth has changed from a hot, molten world to a place full of life shows us how strong life is. As we face the future, we can be inspired by this amazing story of survival and change. In every situation, life has found a way to survive and get better. It's a story of hope and strength that can remind us that we can also change, grow, and control our own future.